Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to systematically design the absolute optimal, highly cost-efficient tech stack for a multi-tenant B2B SaaS platform. If you've ever wondered how to build a system that scales smoothly from your very first paying customer all the way to your thousandth without needing some painful, expensive rewrite, well, you're in exactly the right place. The decisions you make early on in your architecture are hands down some of the hardest to change later, so we're going to make sure we get it right from day one. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit the multi-tenant problem, build our foundation with layers 1 through 3, tackle identity and access, get into subscriptions and billing, look at features and monitoring, and then wrap it all up with the ultimate blueprint. Let's get into it. Part 1, the multi-tenant problem, or why consumer apps honestly have it easy. If you've built consumer apps before, B2B SaaS is a whole different beast. The strict requirements are pretty daunting. You literally have to completely isolate every single customer's data, even though they're all hanging out on the exact same application. You've got to allow custom per-tenant configurations without forking your code base for every new client. You need to handle incredibly complex billing based on usage, seats, or tiers, often all at the exact same time. And you've got to scale seamlessly without rewriting the whole thing. It's a tall order, for sure. Moving on to part 2, foundation, layers 1 through 3. This is exactly where data isolation is won or lost. Okay, layer 1, your tenancy model. This isn't even a tech choice, it's a foundational design choice. You basically have to choose between the elegant simplicity of a shared database with a tenant ID on every table, or the strict and highly expensive isolation of completely separate databases for every single tenant. Really, separate databases are only necessary if you're dealing with intense regulatory requirements or massive enterprise clients who are willing to pay top dollar for that physical isolation. So, what's our cost-efficient pick here? Hands down, it's starting with a shared database and slapping a tenant ID on every single table. For the vast majority of B2B SaaS products out there, this is the absolute right starting point, and it'll safely scale to thousands of tenants before you'd ever need to rethink your approach. Now for layer 2, the Backend API. You know that absolute terror of a developer accidentally leaking one customer's data to another? Yeah, we really want to avoid that. You should use a backend like Node with Nest.js or Java with Spring Boot to automatically inject your tenant context. But the real magic here? Postgres's row-level security. This actually enforces tenant isolation at the database query level itself. Which brings us to our layer 2 cost-efficient pick. This row-level security feature in Postgres, it's completely free. It's built right in. Even if a developer totally forgets to filter by tenant in a new API endpoint, this acts as a massive safety net against costly data leaks. And you don't even need any extra expensive infrastructure. All right, layer 3, the database itself. Here's how you want to distribute the workload. You use standard Postgres for your relational data, but for tenants that need unique, highly configurable fields, you use Postgres JSON-B for flexible configs. Then you pair that with Redis to rapidly cache those tenant-specific settings that get pinged on nearly every single request. And our layer 3 cost-efficient pick is directly tied to that layout. By leaning into PostgreSQL's JSON-B, you get all that flexible, pertinent configuration while saving yourself from the absolute nightmare of deploying, paying for, and maintaining a whole separate schemaless database. You literally get the best of both worlds in one place. Part 3, identity and access, also known as the buy versus build trap. Listen, in the B2B world, enterprise customers are going to demand single sign-on. They just are. So rely on manageable providers like Auth0 or AWS Cognito that support SAML or OIDC right out of the box. Meanwhile, you want to keep your internal engineering team totally focused on building a clear module for managing tenant lifecycles, moving them from trial to paid to canceled, and handling those role-based team invites inside those specific tenants. So the cost-efficient pick here is absolutely crucial. Do not build single sign-on from scratch. Honestly, just don't do it. It is a notoriously complex feature, and enterprise customers will rigorously test it and grill you on it during sales conversations. Buy it, don't build it. Part 4, subscriptions and billing. This stuff is deceptively complex. Now, you might be thinking, hey, shouldn't I just build my own custom billing logic to handle all my unique seats, tiers, and usage limits? I mean, it's just math, right? No, absolutely not.
Edge cases like proration, mid-cycle upgrades, downgrades, and failed payments are literally brutal. Save yourself the headache. Use a managed platform like Stripe Billing and simply sync the subscription status back into your application via webhooks so your access levels reflect reality in real time. The cost-efficient pick for Layer 5? Swallow your pride and just pay Stripe's fees. Because honestly, those fees will always be a tiny fraction of the cost compared to the crazy expensive engineering hours you'll waste fixing broken custom billing logic, all while your customers are angrily complaining about being double charged.
All right, part 5, features and monitoring, or how to actually operate safely at scale. For layer 6, we're talking feature flags. You absolutely have to decouple your features from your code deployments so you can roll things out to specific tenants first. You can use an awesome open source tool like Unleash, which covers most needs for free. Or hey, if your needs are super straightforward in the early days, you can honestly just build a simple database table for your flags. The main thing is keeping that flag configuration totally separate from your core business logic. Moving to layer 7, infrastructure. Standard monitoring just isn't going to cut it anymore. You need tenant-aware views. So use Kubernetes or AWS ECS for orchestration. Monitor the whole thing with Prometheus and Grafana, but make absolutely sure you tag all your metrics with tenant identifiers. This lets you easily spot if one noisy tenant is hogging all the resources, or even better, alert your sales team when a tenant is approaching their limits, which is a prime upsell opportunity. And our final cost-efficient pick is actually a really brilliant hack. Just tag your existing open-source monitoring tools with tenant metadata. This completely avoids the need to go out and buy an expensive, dedicated multi-tenant observability platform. You're essentially getting per-tenant visibility for free. Finally, part 6, the ultimate blueprint, the full stack in one breath. Okay, let's bring it all together. To summarize, you start with a shared database enforced by row-level security. You use contextual backends like Nest.js or Spring Boot. You leverage Postgres JSON-B for flexible configs, combined with Redis for caching. You lock things down with a managed identity provider, and you handle your revenue through Stripe Billing. You manage your rollouts with Unleash for feature flags, and you run the whole shebang on Kubernetes with tenant-aware Grafana monitoring. So, the big takeaway from this whole explainer? Start simple, but stay safe. Lean heavily on mature managed services for those deceptively hard parts like billing and authentication. You have the optimal blueprint right in front of you. The only question left is, which layer are you gonna build first?